What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king. Welcome back to more Let's Play Horizon Forbidden West. In the last episode, we spoke to several people here in Chainscrape, getting all sorts of details on the things that's going on here. Spoke to Ulvund himself, the bastard that he is. And in this episode, we are going to be learning the ways of Machine Strike. This is pretty much the last thing we have left to do before we venture out and begin all this questing. But I want to get this out of the way now, so I don't have to do too much talking on it later.
Come to revel in some strike, sister? Let me set the board.
I was just passing by.
First timer, huh? Don't worry about it. I'll go easy on you. You got any pieces?
No.
Well, aren't you in luck then? I got an extra set, a Tanakh original straight out of the Forbidden West. Sit. I'll run you through it in a hot spark. I'll give you something special if you win it on my boards, too.
Okay, so before we can do any of the challenges, which is the one things we're going to want to do so we can get some metal shards out of this, as well as a bristleback strike piece, we are going to need to go through the tutorials. And I'm just going to kind of let Salma do most of the explaining here before we actually jump in, and then we'll just kind of put everything to the test once that is done. But there's a lot to go over with this one. It's kind of esoteric, and you can clearly tell that Guerrilla was trying to go for like a Gwent sort of thing here with this game, trying to make it a whole game within a game that you'd want to focus on. And I wouldn't say it's nearly as deep or as exciting as something like Gwent, but it does have some merit, and I think to some people it actually will appeal quite a bit. So let's begin.
All right, let's start off simple. The Tanakh like to say that Machine Strike is a game of pure strategy. We each get a set of pieces. Each piece represents a kind of machine, and each machine is worth a different number of victory points. And to win the game, you'll need to gain 7 victory points by destroying the opponent's machines. It can be tricky remembering the details of every machine, so we use these notes to keep track of them. You see that number on the top right corner? That there is how many victory points you'll get for destroying that machine. Notes also tell you how far a piece can move, how powerful their attacks are, the distance they can strike from, and of course, their health. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's just play. I'll explain the rest as we go. I own the board, so I get to choose who goes first. Since this is your first time, I'll let you go. Usually you get to choose which pieces to set on the board, but this will do for now. Pick up that machine piece to your right, and move it forward. And remember, take a look at your notes if you need a reminder. Easy enough, huh? Now, you get to move 2 machines each round, so go ahead and pick a second machine. Perfect. There's not much else to do for now, so just end your turn. We're forging onwards. Let me move my pieces here. And we're back to you. This time, why don't you try attacking one of my pieces? Try with that machine on your right first. Now move the piece close enough to attack one. When performing an attack, you'll be testing your machine's combat power against the opponent's. A machine's combat power is a combination of the terrain your machine is standing on and its own attack power. This board only has grassland terrain, which has no effect on a machine's combat power. And your current machine has 2 points of attack power. So in total, your machine's combat power equals 2 points. Since my machine isn't the one attacking, it has 0 points of attack power. And just like your machine, it's not affected by grassland terrain. So right now, the difference in combat power between the 2 machines is 2 points. This means your machine can do 2 points of damage to my machine. Did you get all that? Knew you were a smart one. Finish up by attacking my machine. Not pulling any punches, huh? Now grab that second machine of yours. See how your machine can't move close enough to attack mine? You can make your machine sprint. That lets it move 1 space further. Try it out. Downside to sprinting is that your machine can no longer attack. Now, some players like to take a risk and overcharge their machine in cases like this. Overcharging lets you attack after a sprint, but it will damage your machine's health by 2 points. So use at your own discretion. Let's try doing that now so you can see what I mean. That's about it for your turn then. Now, I'll let you in on a neat trick. That machine of yours, the one closest to me, grab a hold of it. Same as in the wilds, machines have both armored points and weak points. You can see them marked on the pieces. Blue shows where their armor is thickest. Hit them there and you'll do some damage, but not a lot. Now, red shows the machine's weak points. Hit those and you'll deal a mighty blow. Here, let me show you. Rotate that piece so your machine faces mine. Now let that machine have it. Off the board she goes, and there's your first victory points. You don't have 7 of them yet, so let's keep going. Your machine attacked mine, but hasn't moved yet. Go ahead and move downwards towards my remaining piece. You've already attacked a machine and moved your piece. But if you overcharge your machine, you can attack a second time. And by the look of your machine's health, you'd be sacrificing your piece to defeat mine. But sometimes that can be a good thing. Overcharge your machine to attack mine a second time, and I'll show you what I mean. Ain't that a thrill? Now, because your machine was knocked out at the same time as mine, we both get the victory points our machines are worth. Good news is, since you're the one attacking, you're gonna receive your victory points before I do. Which means you can reach the coveted 7 victory points first. That's why sometimes losing a piece can be the best way to end a game in your favor. Now, you'll notice you didn't get quite up to 7 victory points this time, but you did destroy all my pieces. That means you're the winner! That wasn't so hard, was it? Just remember to always check for the best terrain to attack from. You'd be surprised the advantage you can gain over an opponent like that. I know it saved my behind in a game or two.
I'll try and remember that.
Oh, before I forget, these are all my spare pieces. I want the Savior of Meridian to have them. It's a small set to be sure, but it should be enough to get you in on any strike games you find out there. You might even fancy looking out for them strike carvers. They've got all kinds of unique pieces that can turn a game in your favor, though they'll need the right materials to craft you one. Or you might find them in the wilds if you're lucky. I know I've lost my fair share of pieces after a night of machine hunting or brew hopping. No need to thank me. Always a pleasure to help out new strike players. Now, if you feel like playing a real game, I've got plenty of other boards. I could even teach you a few more tricks if you're up for it.
Thanks. I'll think about it.
Okay, so now that that tutorial is done, we can technically jump into the challenges immediately if we so desire. And I actually am going to, but I do want to briefly cover terrain, knockback, machine types, and skills and things like that. Just faster than she will, because she is going to, it's a really long drawn out process listening to her to explain it. So you got different types of terrains, which are all at different levels, different heights on the board. And you'll notice in the bottom left corner when you're playing a game, in fact, we'll even be able to show this during an actual game, so why don't we jump on into this thing. So really quickly, I'll just kind of explain. You got your different types of terrain here. So we've got our grasslands, which are down here, but then we have our forests up here, which boosts our attack and our defenses by +1. Then up above where my piece is right here, there is an even higher plane that boosts our attack and defense even more. The higher ground you're on, the better spot you're in. Lower ground does have its own benefits, but usually has different weaknesses as well that you have to worry about. On top of that, you look at the card type for my burrower here. It says underneath it, melee type. Now, right now, melee type is the only one that's accessible to us. We will, over time, be able to use more types that have different methods of attacking, such as ranged attacks or charging attacks, knockback attacks, and things like that. On top of that, there are instances where when you come into a clash with another enemy and you both have a shield icon on you, you will not be dealing a ton of damage to them or direct damage, but what you'll be doing is breaking their shields, which makes them more vulnerable to future attacks. And it will dish out damage to both you and them. It's kind of like a little clash of equal defenses that you will get. And this is usually on higher levels of terrain. This will also knock the enemy back, allowing you to take over their position. So I'm going to put my burrower down here. We're actually going to try to use this terrain to our advantage. So let's both put them kind of over here and let Salma go first. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to move my burrower into this spot, which is going to give me a terrain advantage so I can actually take you out. And I am actually just going to finish you off with that. There we go. So let's end our turn. This opponent is probably going to try to move into position. Are they going to attack us? No, they didn't even bother. Okay, so we're going to just win this right off the bat. Let's actually use this piece. Can we go here? No, let's just overcharge attack. That should be more than enough. And there we go. Very simple. So we won the first one. We got 75 metal shards. Very simple. Now we go on to practice medium, which is where we're going to introduce a new enemy type, or our piece type. So we've got this time, beyond the burrowers, we also have lance horns, which are ram types. Now their attack will allow them to overtake an opponent's position. So they'll hit them, knock them back, and move to where the opponent was. This can be both advantageous and disadvantageous. They also have a range of 2 spots of attacking rather than just 1, and a health of 5. So all these things are need to be taken into consideration. The only downside to lance horns, though, is they are worth 2 victory points. So if you get your lance horn knocked out, that can actually be very detrimental to your score. So same thing, I always like to try to put my burrowers into a nice position up at the top. I'll put my lance horn back here. It looks like she's staying mostly to the right side. So let's go over here. And she's going to move up. Okay, that's fine with me. I'm going to move my burrowers into position and then end my turn. Very simple. Okay, so I'll let her continue to move up here. There we go.
That's it for me.
And I should be able to actually get an attack here that's going to take out 2 of them. So I'm going to do that. Well, it's going to do damage to 2 of them, I suppose. And then I can actually overcharge here and I'm going to actually sacrifice my lance horn to make this happen, but it's going to be worth it. So we'll take that one out. My lance horn is definitely going to go down here. And I won't be able to get into position for that. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to move my lance horn way over here, just out of reach, and we're going to end our turn. So it's going to get its attack in, kill my lance horn, that's fine. She can move one more time, we're good. Okay, now, this is on their weak side, so we should be able to take them out very easily. Down it goes. And now, I am going to, I can move again if I wanted to, but I think I'll just move it back here into the forest, and there we should be good. I know it's a little bit of an overcharge, but it's going to keep me in a good spot. And then, this is all a sprint, so let's just move you back some and kind of out of the way. So let her kind of move into position a little bit more. Okay, she is clearly wary of us, so if I can move you back, and then, let's see here. I don't want to, see, I want to use my terrain advantage. So why don't I do this? Because I don't want to attack from a defensive side. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really like the position there. You know what? I will just sprint here. I think that's... And then we'll also rotate you. So, well... I don't really think anything's any better. I guess I just don't want her knocking my lance horn into any of my burrowers. So let's end our turn. Going to move. Going to do... Oh, back up. Okay, well, that's actually good for me. So I can actually sprint into position here and do an overcharge. So let's do that. Takes you out immediately. And then we're going to move our lance horn back here and end our turn. She's going to try to make a move. Just right there. Do some damage. That's okay. There's our little clash, which is fine with me. But now we'll turn over here, rotate around, take you out. And there we go.
Fair and square.
Very, very simple. Very, very simple. All right, now on to hard, where we're going to be introduced to another new type.
This is going to be fun.
Because this time around, we've got ourselves... Oh, no, these are scroungers. Never mind. I thought these were scrappers. So more melee types, but they're a little bit different from the burrowers. They have the same range of attack, but they can move a little bit further, and they have a little bit more health. And they're also still only worth 1 victory point. Put one over here. Put my burrowers up in the same spot. Like them to hold the high ground. I'll put 1 Lancehorn over this way, along with another Scrounger. Put another Lancehorn back this way, and then I will move my last burrower into place right here.
That's it for me.
Okay, let's start. Same exact thing as before. Move them into the high ground. Perfect. Okay, that works out for me. Very nice. Okay, I think... Let's see how we're going to handle this. That's a sprint, which is my only issue here. I'm actually going to move you here. And we're going to move you here, get an attack in. Yeah, let's overcharge. Why not? I think we can overcharge. We can get away with it.
Fearless.
Okay, let's end our turn. So, going to do an attack, which is fine. And then move away. That works for me.
It's all yours.
Okay, now let's take this thing out. A little attack there, which we're going to take its place. I do not want to overcharge here. So, I want to keep you up in the forest, actually. I'm going to move you back here and then end our turn. So it's going to attack our Lancehorn, which is fine. Going to probably overcharge. No? Okay, that's fine. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. All right, I'm going to move you back here. Just kind of off the high ground a little bit. Or onto the high ground, excuse me. And then we're going to move this one just like right here, kind of shore up our defenses over here. There we go. So it's going to do that for a little bit of a shield break. That's all right.
Wow, off the board
But this gives me a perfect opportunity to take you out. Goodbye. Okay, and now we're going to do
off the board.
an attack here. Goodbye, and I'm going to overcharge to make sure that you go down. Sweet. So now we've already got 4 points to her 1. Because remember, it's not just about taking care of the pieces. It's also about actually getting points out of it. So I'm going to move into place here. That'll get me a lot there. And I only have 1 more hit on me, so I'm just going to move there. Take that one out. 6. We're done. We just need to take out 1 more piece. Doesn't matter what piece it is. To R5. We've got this thing at this point. Okay. I'm actually going to do a sprint and... No, I think we're good. Yeah, we're going to just do that. And then I'm going to move you here and get an attack in. Perfect. And overcharge. And we're done. Very simple.
Looks like I lost.
All right, time for the last game, which is the regular challenge where we actually have to create our set. So what I'm going to do, I have a Claw Strider this time, which is worth 5. It's got a lot of health, and it's going to give me an instant advantage. I'm going to actually not use the Claw Strider just to demonstrate how this is done without that piece. So we're going to pick 2 burrowers. We're going to pick 2 scrappers. These are gunner types. And then we have a choice between 2 of any of these 3. So I can pick up to 2 of any kind, but only a total of 2. Out of all of these, the Grazer is my least favorite. Yes, it's only worth 1 victory point, which is the one upside to using it. It's the lowest risk, but it's also the lowest reward. So I'm going to go with a Fanghorn and a Lancehorn. And after that, we're just going to start. So let's do it.
Good luck.
All right, so she actually didn't pick as high victory points as I did, so she actually has 1 more piece than me. But that can actually work out in my favor. Sometimes having less pieces is actually a good thing, as long as you don't have too few, because you can still only go the same amount of turns, regardless of how many pieces you have. Let's move all those into place. I'm going to put a Lancehorn over here. And then we'll put our last Fanghorn over here.
Time to make my move.
All right, ma'am. You are up. Same strategy as before.
You're up, Red.
We move the... We're going to move actually 1 into the high ground, but this is a scrapper. So I can actually attack from here while staying in the exact same spot that I'm at. I could overcharge... Is that worth only 1, though? I don't think that's worth it to overcharge on it. Well, that's the thing, though, is it would come after me. Let's do it. Let's just overcharge.
Well, that's done now.
All right, so 1 point. That's good. So we're just going to come up and actually do some damage on me. Are you going to overcharge? Let's see.
More move, Red.
Oh, you took me out. Wow, okay. Well, that's fine with me. I'm going to move... I'm just going to move right here and attack. And then overcharge again. Perfect. Okay, there's that. And let's move our last burrower into position and end our turn. So nothing should be able to get to that in time. It's going to do a little extra damage. That's okay. Knocked us off the ledge, which did some extra damage. If I could move here, that would be great. Get rid of this burrower. Do I want to overcharge here? I kind of do. You know what? I am going to do that. The faster we take this thing out, the better. And then Fanghorn, if you can, knock this thing out with one shot. We can end our turn. So we've got a huge point advantage right now. Huge point advantage. So Lancehorn, I'm going to have you take this thing out right there. And Burrower, if you could finish it off, we'll win.
Well, Spark my forge. You have beaten me on every one of my boards.
Very, very simple. And what is our prize exactly? But a Bristleback Strike piece to use in future boards and 100 metal shards. Not bad at all. None of these tutorials are necessary. You don't have to do them if you don't want to. You don't get any rewards for doing it. I pretty much explained how it all works without her. So that's it. So we need to do 2 more beginner machine strikes to get 2 skill points for our troubles. But yeah, that should be about it. The only last thing I want to address here before we end this episode is up this way. This is another merchant we actually can't talk to just yet, but I wanted to clear that out. This is an herbalist. He will give you different types of potions and medicines and things like that. But because of the work stoppage, his services are not currently available. All right, guys, that is enough farting around here in Chainscrape. We did this for 2 episodes. It's time we actually get things done. So we've got a whole lot of stuff that is available to us. We're going to make our way up to Deep Trouble, actually. So I'm going to make sure that I actually set that as my active quest. And there's going to be a lot of things along the way for us to get. We got to get some stuff for Milduff along the way. We got to check out some of these extra areas, which I will these are pretty interesting things, these question marks over here, little extra exploration things we can get along the way. And we're also going to get ourselves into some fights, so it's going to be a whole lot of fun. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for watching this episode of Let's Play Horizon Forbidden West. I hope you all enjoyed it very, very much, and I will see you all in the next one.